All right, here's where we left off. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and polish a few things. So if you look at the sketch, I'm gonna wanna add this icon, and then we'll take a look at implementing the functions as well. So let's head to our editor and we'll go to our stock list and we'll add a icon here. So we'll add a div and we'll say icon container, and then we'll import an SVG that I've added in the assets folder, which is going to serve as our icon. So we're going to say React component as stock list icon from, and then we'll go back and we'll find our assets folder and we'll find the icons and we'll say chart pie, and we'll pop that right in here. And give that a class name of styles.icon. All right. So let's go ahead and style that. So we're going to say that the icon container is going to be a height of 15 pixels, width of 15 pixels, border radius 50% in order to make it round. It's going to have a background color, and here we want to use a variable. So in index.css I've added a primary blue variable, which is basically just the header gradient bottom. So add that and then pop that in here. And let's see, you want a padding of 5 pixels, and position is going to be absolute. So if we take a look here, we want this to be on the outside of the list item, and we don't want it to affect the rest of the list item, because that will make the headers and the data in the list item misalign. So we want this to be absolutely positioned, and we want the list item to be the anchor. So let's go ahead and find the list item and add position relative here so that it will properly anchor our icon. Now let's go ahead and grab the icon and give that a fill of white. And then let's say left and minus 35 pixels. And we'll see what we have. All right, that's not too bad. I think we're also going to want to change the top property a little bit. So we'll say top 6 pixels. Oh, maybe minus 6 pixels. That's still too much. Let's just go ahead and do this in our browser, and we'll be able to get the adjustment that we need. So -2, I think, is going to look pretty good. And now I also want to increase the margin of the list items a little bit. So going to the list item and increasing the top and bottom margins by 4 pixels. So that leaves us with this. Okay, so next up, I want to take the dividend per share and shorten that a little bit. So I'm going to go to stock list, and I'm going to find the dividend per share, and I'm going to say dividend P/S. And I also want to grab the where I put in the values here and add the currency. So behind get dividend per share and get dividend per 1,000 spent. So that should add the currency in those fields. All right. Now let's go ahead and go to the stocklist module.css and grab the CSS rules for the dividend per share, because now we want it to be a little bit smaller than it's currently taking up. So we're going to say that the width is going to be 125 pixels for that. And that leaves us with this. And let's push the entire thing here over a little bit. So I'm going to say that I'm going to take the list headers and the entire stock list, and I'm going to say transform translate x 40 pixels. So that is going to push the entire list a little bit to the right along the x-axis. Okay. With that done, I want to take a look at the functions that we have here in the stock list. So in order to get dividend per share, we want to take a look at the data, and then we want to grab the latest entry. So we want the key of 2020. So we already have a function for that in our helpers. It's named get current year, and we can import that from our helper file, and that'll retrieve the current year, which is 2020. And then we will return the stock.dividends, and we'll put the year there. If we hit save on that, then that should take care of filling in the dividend per share according to our data. And it does. All right. So next up is the get dividend per 1,000 spent. So here we need to think about what we are going to do. And based on the asking price, we need to figure out how many stocks we can get for 1,000 kroners. And then we need to multiply that by the dividend yield of the current year. Luckily, we already created a function that gets us the dividend per share. So let's say const dividend per share equals get dividend per share, and we put in the stock, and then let's figure out how many stocks we get for 1,000 kroners. So amount of stocks equals 1,000 split on the stock.ask, and then let's say total equals amount of stocks, and we'll multiply that by dividend per share. All right, and then we'll return the total, and we'll say to fixed, and we'll give it 2 decimal points. Let's take a look at that. Sweet. That gives us the dividend yield per 1,000 kroner spent. Perfect. Now, I took a look at the PE rating, and I don't think we're going to calculate it after all. I think we'll just have it come directly from the API. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to put in, instead of the get stock PE, we're going to say stock.pe, and then we'll go to our data set, and we'll add in, for each stock, we'll add an entry here for the PE rating, and then that'll just be coming directly from the API. So we'll just put in dummy data there for now, and it should still work exactly the same. All right, I think now we're pretty much done cleaning this up, and if we go back to our sketch, we still haven't implemented the filter here up top, and we're going to handle that in a later video. But for now, I think we're done with the list, and we're going to handle putting it all together in a dashboard component in the next one. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you there.